That was incredible. Hey everyone, welcome to Guitar Center Hollywood. We are thrilled to partner with our friends at AlphaTheta to bring you this very special CDJ-3000X workshop. I'm Dustin from Guitar Center, and I'll be your host for today's event. And whether you're here with us in person or tuning in on the live stream, you are in for a treat, because joining us today is none other than Grammy-nominated producer and DJ TOKiMONSTA.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So great to have you here. So we'll start this interview kind of where a lot of interviews start with musicians, and we're going to go all the way back to the beginning and work our way up to present day with the CDJ-3000X.
Oh, yes.
So let's take that journey. Let's go back to the beginning. So, I think the first thing that starts with your journey is the name TOKiMONSTA. Where did that come from?
So Toki means rabbit in Korean, and Monsta was a way 16-year-old me thought was really cool to write monster. So essentially, it's Rabbit Monster, and it was my screen name because I'm a millennial and I was on AOL. So that was my screen name at the time, and now it is my artist name, and I cannot change it, so that's who I am.
That's great. That's so awesome. So, you got the name, but what first got you into DJing and producing? What was it?
I think unlike a lot of my peers, I did not start off DJing. I started off making beats, and mostly in the realm of kind of like weird hip-hop beats. And I think as a producer, the most sensible way to kind of perform is to DJ your music or find a way to perform your music live. So I definitely have different versions of what it means for me to perform. Some of it is like live, like more concert live, and then there's these like DJ sets, which are these like performative versions of my music, but a little more dancey.
Definitely. Yeah, so how did you take some of those skills and that kind of early mindset when you were first getting into it, when it was super fresh, and apply that to kind of your influences today and how you approach music?
For me, movement is really important, and I think because I used to make a lot of just like weird lo-fi beats before lo-fi beats was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the one thing that's important in that world is like swing and movement. And even now when I DJ, obviously a lot of music is very quantized and very 4/4, but I love when there's ways to DJ and to make music that still has a lot of movement, even though it's at a BPM that seems more rigid. So I always like to keep that, and also to make sure that my music always has soul and has feelings and doesn't feel too cold. Just my thing, but yeah.
Totally. And that's tricky to do in different life situations, like reacting to the crowd and having control at your fingertips.
Sometimes you got to push people to the point of like slight discomfort or surprise people. And that tells a story and tells a journey. And even DJing is very much like, sometimes a whole DJ set is like one long song. If you do it right.
If you do it right, yeah, that's great. No stops. So you have a record label, Young Art Records. So through that, you're helping other artists grow their own careers, continue your own career. How do those two things intertwine?
Being an artist, that is me creating. Me running a label is the part of me that just loves listening to music. You always have that friend that's like, here's a link to this song, or let me make you a mixtape or a playlist. This is me being able to do that professionally while also uplifting a lot of artists I believe in. So it's like next level, sharing music with your friends, except I get to really launch a lot of these artists so that they can have these wonderful long careers, even beyond my label.
When did you start that?
I think, 2014. The first album that we released on my label was one of mine, and it was important for me to do that so that I can set the precedence for the label as an independent artist and use kind of whatever weight that I have. I'm not saying I have a lot of clout, but then whatever clout I have to then launch these other artists and, pave the way and really mentor them. Because like for these artists that I sign, it's really important for me to give them the things that I didn't have, which was like visibility, help, like anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Musicians are great, I feel like, at not pulling up the ladder. We want each other to succeed.
Yeah.
That's really powerful stuff. So we're really here to take a look as well as into your expertise, also into the new AlphaTheta CDJ-3000X with our friends from AlphaTheta who are here. Now, CDJ's technology that's been around for a while, how has the evolution of that technology changed the way you perform?
I think a lot. We are always at the mercy of the tools that we have, and a lot of beautiful things can come from that, right? Whether it's like you only have a drum machine and a guitar, you can make some really cool music with that, better music than you can if you had a bazillion instruments. And when you have something as simple as CDJs, it's not hard to DJ. Everyone can learn technically how to DJ. It's everything outside of the technical skills that make you a really good DJ. And yeah, I think that through using these CDJs, it's also shaped a lot of how some of my current music has been like moving, if that makes sense. And I love it. I love this different part of my brain I get to use when I'm DJing versus when I'm producing music.
Very different.
Very different.
Yes. So, from your perspective, you've had your own journey with CDJs. How do you think CDJ has shaped modern DJ culture as a whole?
A lot. It's the main tool that we all use. And again, kind of going back to what I just said, since everyone has the same tools, what is going to set you apart? Everyone is performing on this wonderful machine, and it gives you all the things for you to be an individual. And it's hard to do that. But also what I love is you have this feedback culture where like as a DJ or as a performer, we can voice our concerns, and then you see these changes happen through every iteration of the CDJs. And I'm someone who hopped in, I think during the 2000 Nexus is when I kind of started DJing a little bit more, and just to see the jump has been amazing. And all the new features that are being added in today just allow you to do so many cool things. Like it's pretty sick.
Yeah, and the less time you have to fight with the hardware, the more direct the line to your inspiration is.
Yeah, and it's just like it's also a very sturdy piece of hardware. As a person that used to, go around with my laptop and my, MIDI controller, they're very flimsy. So it's nice to not have to, lug all my stuff on my back. Now I can, I have this still wonderfully thought out performance set, but, in a format that travels easier and with pieces of equipment that can withstand a lot.
Yeah, and you mentioned laptop. I don't see a laptop up there.
No laptop today.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of love it.
All right, perfect segue. I think we should get into the demo section. We're talking enough about it. Let's start using it. So let's get up and close and personal with some of the tech and abilities of the machine. So you have memory active loops. You have creating playlists. I think we start with your song, It Feels. How's that sound?
Yes. So a lot of the songs I'm playing today are not out. They're kind of
First
demos.
look.
So if they sound a little rough,
Cool.
But they're perfect for me showing you guys how to DJ, which is, the main purpose of this conversation today.
Awesome. All right. Let's hear it for Toki. You should get started here.
Hi, friends. I have moved offices. So, okay. I think one thing I kind of want to point out. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to hold the mic, you guys. So, what I really like about the new CDJs is that you can use USB-C. It's happened. Let's see. So I'm just gonna play this track right now. It's a track I use to perform live. So I'm going to kind of wing parts of this demo by showing you things that I use. One of the first things is I actually use the old school tracker on the grid on top. I don't use it with the waveforms. For me, it makes the most amount of sense. You won't see it right now because I'm not mixing anything in, but this feature was on like the earliest CDJs, and I still like it. And I know this isn't utilized. If you guys don't DJ often, how many of you guys actually DJ parties? Okay. Do you ever sit in front of people going, this song is too damn long? And you're like, what am I going to do? Everyone's staring at me. There's no drums. So let's back up to this one. So this is like a long, long build. I don't think anyone wants to wait for this, so a feature that's highly underutilized is beat jump, and this is on all like a lot of modern CDJs, not just this one. But if you do use it, it's pretty sick. So you can move back 8 bars, also 16 bars, 32 bars. You might not need 64 bars, but you also have the beat jump feature here. But this, by default, is 4 bars. So depending on what your needs are, you can just skip that build and get straight to the good stuff. That being said, this is one of the features I think is really important. I have a low attention span, and sometimes I'm not paying attention to every single thing I'm doing. So active memory loops are really important for me. So like right now, even if I'm preoccupied setting something up on another CDJ, I always have a drum loop set up on a lot of my tracks so that it's looping constantly. And this is a feature that, someone can correct me, but I set it up in Rekordbox. So when you go to your memory cues, you can log a loop. It'll be a little like round arrow and it's orange. You click it again, it turns red. That means no matter what, automatically, it's like a follow action. It will just play. So you don't have to trigger the memory loop to make the drums going. But yeah, that's the features of this one song. I have many more tips for you guys.
You did it. That was really cool. Thanks for showing us that.
Hopefully that made sense. Sorry, guys, if that was confusing.
No, it made perfect sense. We got great camera angles of all the stuff you're working on, too.
Okay.
So that helps a lot, big time. Yeah. So we're going to jump to the live stream and take a question here. A question or two. Let's see what we got. All right. Eduardo wants to know, what are some of your favorite albums of all time?
Oh, of all time? Okay, so 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Clan, that's up there. I think, I'm trying to think. I really like Smashing Pumpkins. That was like one of my favorite bands growing up. So, you know, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness is a really good album. I'm trying to think. When I'm put on the spot, it's really hard for me to remember. You know, my friend Flying Lotus has an album I thought was really iconic called Los Angeles. It's still one of my favorite albums. And yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of a lot of my friends. So Anderson .Paak has an album called Venice. It's also really iconic. And there's probably more. So many. But I have that for now. I
was watching an interview you did with Amoeba Records where you went through and kind of grabbed some of them, and some great records in there.
Yeah, we love a Sun Ra. I'm a vibes person, so I forget the titles of things very often. But, you know, I have many favorite artists, and I think it's important for everyone to just like what you like.
Totally. So those are your favorite records of all time. How about like one or two that you just started listening to or feel like have inspired you lately?
Oh my god. Is this one of those things where you're like, I need to pull out my phone to see what I've been streaming lately? You know, A lot of what I've been listening to lately is kind of older music. So I've been going back listening to like old Portishead, or, I think, Massive Attack, things that just take me back to a different era. And that's been really exciting to kind of go backwards into the wealth of music that already exists. Because, we do have a content overload. There's a lot of music that's out there. And between, listening to modern music and throwing it back a little bit, it's a nice little way to enjoy.
And getting kind of a headspace, like
I think so, yeah.
When you're reading a book, you kind of feel different about your surroundings when you listen to a specific genre.
Yeah, and the main one in LA too is you're always in the car, so it's like a really wonderful time to listen to music, and it's a lot of time in the car. So it's a lot of time listening to music, and you really build the taste for that. And a lot of that, then you're favoriting a song into this list where it's like, oh, I need to get this track because I want to download, I want to DJ it out later, and you get to sit with things, and that's nice.
Yeah, totally. You're right. Driving in traffic is a great time to discover.
There's not much else you can do in there.
No, not safely at least, until they work in DJ controllers into cars. But we're probably a few years away from that.
Once we don't have to drive anymore, we're just making beats and.
I'd far prefer that, yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's great. So we've been talking a lot about your approach to performance. We haven't talked a lot about your approach to production, because that's another big piece of your career, right? Not just live performing, but you put out an album a year or so ago, and that's been doing great. And so, how do your DJ skills transfer to production? Is it two totally separate things, or do you find yourself like, oh, I did this on stage, maybe I could try and replicate that in the studio?
It's interesting, right? Because there's a lot of specific effects that I use, signatures that, we use as producers. A good example is like high pass filtering, high pass, low pass. And that's something I've always implemented into all my beats. But where did that come from? I think it's just through DJ culture, because we're used to listening to music that was also kind of performed via DJ. And it's these subtle things where you want to mimic the thing you hear in the club, but you also want the club to mimic this thing you hear in the studio. And it becomes this analogous thing. You don't even know where it comes from. You're like, I want to, cut out this effect and have this like long decay on it. Why? Probably because it's something I also do when I DJ. So they overlap a lot.
Totally. Yeah, like I think, when you're preparing for a performance is different than when you're producing, right? Because producing's a lot more, passive build-up. You kind of walk into the room and get your coffee and get everything situated. Live performance is like, boom, all of a sudden.
So different. Yeah. They're absolutely different. There are two different parts of my brain. I think if I've been locked up in the studio for, 8 hours, I barely remember how to speak afterwards, I have to like reacclimate and be like, oh, okay, people.
What's your biggest difference in how you prep for a recording session in the studio versus a live one?
The objectives are very different when I'm making music. Like, a lot of the music I make is not explicitly dance music, that is more of a creative energy where I'm like, what will I make today? And when I'm DJing, I'm like, what am I going to create an energy today with other people? So it's different. I think music making is a more selfish process. I'm not thinking about other people. I'm thinking about what I want to make. And when I'm DJing, I'm like, how can we all have a shared experience together through the music I'm about to play right now? And that's really important for me.
So how much does your music change? Obviously produce some of what you perform beforehand. How does that change in a live setting based on feedback from the crowd? Is it strictly just BPM, or how much more are you doing there?
I'm someone who really believes in DJ sets that evolve over time and BPMs. So I'm not like 2 hours of like 150 BPM. That's not my thing. I like starting typically on the lower range, somewhere around 115, and I will build it up all the way and show the audience, subtly that all music is related. Maybe I'm playing something more soulful in the end, and I'm making something that makes you want to shake your butt more on the other end. And the way that you kind of bridge those gaps and make it seamless, that's the artistry, And as a musician who loves music, because, DJing is so much about me also sharing music, just like with the label, I get to show everyone all the music that I love but I have to just be very careful about how I mix them all together and how I share it with you guys, so it doesn't sound like a car crash, or like a wreck, because we know what a train wreck sounds like when someone DJs, and we're all guilty of that. So really refining your skills and working on it has been quite the journey.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool way to put it. Is DJing is sharing music. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Like playlisting guys with the aux cord and their Nissan Altima. It's like an evolution
everyone with
of
their
that.
phones out trying to figure out what track is this. You know,
exactly.
Or people online going, "What's that track ID?" This is us sharing something that makes us happy with everyone else. It's like, I found this track, and I'm gonna play it for you because it made me happy. I hope it'll make you all happy, and so that is this beautiful community that we have with just people, anyone who loves music.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't want to pull back the curtain too far, but are there any like specific techniques or sound tags or oral things that happen in your song that you feel like this defines me, this is my signature thing?
In terms of like music that I produce, going back to also what I said earlier about swing and movement and making sure that music doesn't feel so rigid. And the more you DJ, the more you do kind of need things to be on a grid, but not everything has to be completely quantized. So if I'm making music in like the 125 range, there's not that much room for swing. But if I have my kick on and my snare on, there's all that beautiful space in between those to create more motion. And whether I'm making like, a swung like beat at 85 BPM or I'm making something at 130, there's still room to add something that feels natural into your music. So that's one element, like rhythmically. And on top of that, just warm sounds are really important. I love using crusty samples, if I can clear them. But, creating my own, just have a field recording and, hear someone outside just humming a song and being like, oh, that's cool, and finding these clever ways to integrate real life into your music. Because electronic music by default can be very cold, so what can we do to keep it warm? And a lot of that is sonics, a lot of that is melody and harmonies and chords that you choose, and a lot of it is the movement that, is carried within the song.
Well put. That's great. So speaking of your sound, let's jump into another track. I think we're going to look at Reverie and Rouge. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yes. So I'll preface this track before I play it. This is an edit that I used to play during my tour. So it's a track, one of my tracks, Reverie, off my most recent album, and my track Rouge, which is off Moulin Rouge. That was the album that was nominated for a Grammy way back. And... Thank you. But we talked about how do I modernize the music I make that does not really fit in a live environment. So with this tour, I did a lot of this, these mashups of let me take one of my songs and one of my other songs and reconfigure it so that it will move a crowd. And so this is an example of that.
That's great. Yeah, excited to look at some of the features on the CDJ here. So thank you.
Okay. This is a great example where I'm going to do a lot of beat jumping, so you guys don't have to sit through this long, long song. I think another feature that people overlook I know it's more native to this specific mixer, but there are frequencies available. So if I want to have this reverb on, I can make sure that it does not affect the low frequencies because that's going to make it really muddy. So another feature, which actually is not specific to this song, I wanted to point out that with the new CDJs also, and this is something I really, really like, you can edit your playlist now. So you can see that on the top of the playlist, I just put edit. Now I can move all the songs in different orders. Ooh, hello. Just like that. So imagine you have 800 songs and you can now move them in order. It's pretty significant, I think, for someone like me where it's important for me to know what song I'm playing next so then I can focus on other aspects of my DJ set. This has been a real game changer for me personally. On top of that, another feature I really like, and this is not because I'm a hater, but some people don't know boundaries, is you can hide your tracks now. I think I had more things I wanted to tell you guys, but I kind of forgot. So the good thing is I have another track, because there's a few things I'm saving, so I'm saving it for the next track to show you. But I hope you liked my song.
That was great job. What was that song called again?
So it's two songs mashed together. It's my song Reverie and my song Rouge off of my album Moon Rouge. And that came out in 2016. Reverie just came out this past year. And yeah, it was cool to kind of show there's a through line in all my music, even though that album had come out in 2017. Now at 2025, it's still very much who I am. And blending the songs together show you that I'm still the same artist, you know?
That's cool. I've never seen anyone do that before. Take a track from an older album. That's really unique.
You know who did that? Daft Punk. Yeah, like the whole Alive thing is they did mashups of their own songs. And so I took a little inspo from them. My music sounds obviously very different, but it's, if you've ever worked with like sample libraries or loops, a lot of it is just what key is the track in? Will it make sense together? And painting this really beautiful picture with the same palette. And it's like this new picture is created with the song, but the palette is the same from each of them. So, yeah.
And you're not performing in a giant pyramid. So.
No, I would love to. One day,
Hey, maybe they'll have you up there. That'd be pretty cool.
It's been so long, I wonder if you can, find it online or something. Maybe they're just selling parts for it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows what the licensing looks like on that. So a Jar of Sand online wants to know what a pivotal point in your music career that helped you work within the DJ world.
Oh, pivotal point. That's kind of a very broad question. I think making music and people hearing it. As a music producer, I'm not a band, so there's not a lot of other ways to play your music other than DJing it in some form. And initially, I did not use CDJs. So initially, the way that I performed my music was through loops and these very performative tools that I can only find if I use my computer. And now that CDJs have kind of evolved and you have these two worlds merging, I can do something that feels very live and very personal and fluid with CDJs that I couldn't do years ago. And so, yeah, I think just making music and people wanting to hear them, that was pretty pivotal.
Yeah, so people's reaction to the music.
Because I wasn't DJing before. I started DJing as a response to people being like, "Well, we want to see you in concert," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to do that," you know. And so that's why my perspective on DJing is so different than people that started off in DJs. You know, like if you compare me to like an A-Track, it's very different because he is like such a supreme DJ and he started off with that, and that influences so much of the music that he makes. And for me, it's backwards. Is like the music I made before influences how I DJ, and that's why I love my DJ sets to be this long, fluid song and more of like a way to orchestrate the music than just feeling like, I don't know, a DJ set. I don't know how to, somewhere in there that made sense.
A symphony with movements.
Yeah, there
really.
we go.
Yeah. So perfect dovetail into a question from Electric Soul. What was one of your most memorable DJ sets? One that really was like, wow, really stuck out in your memory?
Oh, my Lord. So many. As you can tell, I'm not good when I'm being put on the spot. I mean, there are just like so many epic DJ sets I've been really fortunate to have. Whether it's something like, I played Coachella this year at the Do Lab, and it was, the previous times I've played Coachella, I was not on CDJs yet. I was doing these live performances, and this is probably, I think it was like the fourth time I played Coachella, and it felt really special to be able to DJ for everyone because I didn't also feel beholden to only play my music because there's so much music I'm inspired by that works so well with my music, and to be able to move bodies like that just felt really special. So that was a pretty good standout one.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like DJ setting? Do you prefer like a big outdoor festival on a giant stage, or do you prefer more like a gritty kind of like New York club with a low ceiling, or
DIY
you mean party?
Like when the sweat's dripping from the top?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That exactly.
Yeah. Both. They're different, right? When you're DJing for a very, very large crowd, it's like the whole audience is one organism, and you're seeing everyone influence each other, and also that the crowd also influence you. When you're in that sweaty, warehouse rave or wherever, and you're DJing, you're amongst everyone. So you're not controlling or you're not influencing an organism. You are a part of it. And everyone's sweat is also on you, and your sweat is on everyone else, and you're just having this really raw and real experience just right in front of each other. So they're both so amazing, and they have a large impact on me and just what I do as a musician, but you can't pick one.
So have you ever gotten up in front of a crowd and go, oh, I have to change this entire set list. Oh, this has got to go here and this has got to go here? Or are you pretty standardized with what goes where, and sometimes you'll move a few things around?
Yeah, I think as a DJ I'm more flexible because it is about, I do think that there's something about the artistry of moving a crowd and not just forcing everyone to be like, I'm just going to play, I don't know, the Beatles, and you just have to listen to it, There is this kind of balance of making sure everyone's also just having a good time. And I know it could sound a little like sycophanty, like I'm not doing it to make everyone happy. I'm doing it so that we can all share this joy together. Because when everyone else is happy, I'm also happy, and you have this wonderful shared experience. And it's important for that to exist. All the things.
Oh, yeah. One more audience question here from Nick. So DJ gear, especially like the new ones you're working on now, a lot of buttons, a lot of menus,
So many
a lot of
buttons.
options, a lot of things to spin, beep, boop, press, turn. As companies like AlphaTheta continuously improve their equipment and add more features, what feedback or advice do you have for people just starting out who may be intimidated, who are just learning the technical specs? How do you start? Where do you even begin?
I think if you're learning how to DJ for the very first time, specifically on CDJs, have beat sync on. Everyone wants to say it's terrible. When you're learning how to DJ, it is a really helpful tool. And then eventually, once you figure it out, you can turn it off.
It was beat sync?
Yeah, beat sync. That's where everything is just gridded with each other. Like the songs are just automatically locked in. And a lot of DJs really frown upon using it. And I don't use it myself, but then when I first started DJing, it was really helpful for me to have that because I could just focus on just getting the songs to work together and not about having them to align so on. After a while with practice, matching them on with your own ear or like headphones, it becomes more fluid and you won't need that. It's really intuitive. But when you're starting, there's easy mode, CDJs on easy mode, and then there's CDJs on hard mode. And so I think go on easy mode until you don't need the training wheels anymore.
Yeah. So with just again go back to beat sync. So that's where you have one track running on one system, and then you've BPM matched it.
It's just automatically locked in on grid.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good function.
Yeah.
Last one from the stream here. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from a live set that didn't go as planned?
Oh, so many. Let's see. There's the hard way I learned how the jog wheel function works. There's it shows you like how, what is it called? Hold on. Oh, it just says jog wheel. So there's a little knob that says jog wheel, and it shows you how much resistance the jog wheel has. I think when I first started DJing, I didn't realize that some people like to set it very light, and light means all the way to the left. So that also means if you just brush against it, the whole track will skip. So yeah, always watch the jog wheel. If you can, just keep it at 12 o'clock, unless you really want it to be super light. Other classic ones, you accidentally knock the track in reverse, and you're like, why is this track playing in reverse? That's not good. So that's a little knob in there that you should make sure it's going forward. And then, yeah, I think just the longer process of learning that I like using the CDJs in vinyl mode and not in CDJ mode. Yeah, there's a lot more. There's always things that are going wrong.
Oh yeah, live performances are just a grab bag for what's going to go wrong this time.
It's like, just don't cry on stage, Jen. That's all I'm saying.
You'll never have all the answers. It's about adaptability.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think at this point, too, there's something very human about making mistakes. People really beat themselves up. And I have been in front of thousands and thousands of people and made huge mistakes. And if it's not me making a mistake, sometimes the sound goes out. Sometimes there's an electrical storm. All these different things happen. And at the end of the day, it's just really how you carry yourself forward. And we love a disaster because it bonds us together. And sometimes when those things happen, I'm just like, hey, guys, just so you know, this is real. Just bang out another track, and everyone's just in such a good mood, So it hurts when you mess up, but when you come back, it's just that much more heroic.
Yeah, people love a comeback story.
I'm saying.
Even if it's 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you were talking about jog wheels, resistance. You're talking about different knobs on the CDJ. Do you have a single favorite new feature on the unit?
Yeah. So many. Wait, single new feature. Well, I'm going to show it in my next demo.
Oh, no spoilers. Sorry.
Okay, then I'm not going to share my new feature. Actually, since I kind of already talked about it, the rearranging tracks, being able to edit on your playlist, it's so small, but it's really, really helpful just to know like what tracks you want to lay out. Because when I DJ, my prep, so if I play a certain festival, I will have a rough idea of some songs I want to play. But once you're there, you're like, oh, I can't play this track. Or I think in this instance, these other two tracks will be better next to each other. It helps to move them around, and I love it. It's my fave.
Yeah, helps to have
my other fave is I'll share for later, but yeah.
Helps to have a little bit bigger screen too, so you can drag and drop.
that is probably the best thing because I'm probably slowly going blind. The screen, instead of fitting, I think it used to fit like 8 rows of text, it fits 12 now. And if you have bad vision like me, now with that space, you can actually make the text larger and still have 8 tracks showing. It's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a lot of these features are like ease of use and adaptability, and there's nothing really like changing your music itself, but it's changing how you access your music and react to the crowd.
The more fluid it is to use the CDJs, the more that you can do. And so if you don't have to spend too much time thinking of these other things like, oh no, I can't read the track name because I can't see. You know, those are small things that allow me to be a better DJ. And the more tools you have, the more you can do, the better time you have at the club, you know? And again, a lot of this, the performing as a DJ is a feedback loop. So if you're more comfortable DJing and you know your equipment and it has these features that you really like, then everyone else will be able to read that comfort in you and have a good time. Baseline, it's just much, not, I don't want to say easier is the right word. It's much more intuitive than previous versions. And it's every iteration of the CDJs are more and more intuitive.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that barrier to like putting creativity in your mind out, like, you know, by the time you turn something on and noodle with it and menu dive and whatever else, you're like, I don't even remember what I was going to do.
Yeah, too many menus. So now it's less menus. Yeah.
Yes, big time. One button press away almost.
Yeah.
Let me see if we have any other questions from the stream. And then at the end here, we'll take questions from the live audience. We didn't forget about you. Sundog wants to know, are all your sets planned in event ahead of time, or is it a mix of improvisation and planned sets?
So when I do live sets, which is what I used to do before, which involve my computer, those sets are pretty baked in because, you know, I'm doing a lot of performance, there's backing tracks, etc. With CDJs, it's not so much that. I might just have some tracks I really like that I want to play. So I have those set up and I'm like, ooh, I just got this new banger. I want to like play this out for everyone. And those things will be in a playlist, but sometimes as I go, I decide I want to go in a different direction and I'll just wing it and I'll find other tracks that I know. And this is where loving music and being familiar with music is really important as a DJ. You know, you have to know the songs that you're playing. I mean, you don't have to, but you're less likely to train wreck if you know your music.
Yeah. Knowing them inside and out, know how they feel, know how you expect someone to react to them, that's powerful.
Yeah. So crazy.
Speaking of powerful, why don't we get into another song here? I think we're going to look at Switch It.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Hey guys, so new song. Okay, so now I can explain my favorite feature. I don't know if you can see, but I have no hot cues in this track other than just the starting hot cue, and that's to show you guys my favorite feature. So as you can see, this track has a lot of nothing going on. I mean, there's some good moments, but what if I wanted to jump to the next hook or the next drop? I can now hold down the waveform on the bottom and drop them in while I'm playing. So now you can have a track with no hot cues in. You can pick all the moments you want to put hot cues in. It will not affect the music that you guys hear. And I think that's pretty amazing. So the old school version of that was beat jumping, you know, when I said skip 4, 8, 16 bars, but now you can really just skip to the highlights. Like another one. So as you can see, I'm just dropping a lot of random hot cues in there, but it's pretty convenient to be able to do that and not have to worry about other people hearing it or guessing or not knowing. The fact that you can also zoom in to see exactly where you want to place these hot cues is pretty amazing. So I think that's my main note for that one. But yeah, that's the feature I think I love the most, because then you can have a track that maybe you just got, you don't have enough time to put hot cues in. You can perform the song, play it out, and then add your hot cues as you need.
So if you want to stay behind there for a second, I want to ask you one or two things about the cues. So you've got hot cues you were talking about a little bit there. Have you had a chance to play with the smart cue or the link cue at all?
Yeah, so I just like bonked my face with this. Okay, so you can tell I'm not a microphone person. There is link cue. So the way that this works is while this is playing, wrong song, but if you're playing the track out, now also as you're dragging it here, you should be able to hear it through your headphones. That way you can actually cue where you want to play the track through your headphones. On top of that, so there's this cool feature. I'm just not really good at this. For those of you who are good at live drumming, which I'm trash at it. So I kind of like want to show it to you guys because I think everyone else will be able to use this feature much better than me. So let me delete some of these hot cues. All right, wish me luck. So let's say, okay, so there's a gate cue. You can turn it on and off, right? When you turn gate cue on, so now, so you can use your imagination, right? So if you had a snare here, you can like drum, but I'm just not good at it, so I don't want to show you guys and fall flat on my face. But if you had, oh my God, I feel like I have to show you guys because then I like. Lord, help me. Hold on. So, you know what I mean? I'm not good at this, so I already prefaced all that. So, oh. Because I'm a nerd, I also noticed this. If you have your hot cues here, now the color of the cue button changes. So whatever's the last one will change. So F here, it's orange. This would turn green. All those, you know. You need to spend some time with it. But the fact that you can also change all the colors of the hot cues is nice. So it used to just be, I think, like green and then maybe orange if it was a loop. Don't quote me. It's been like a really amazing evolution to see these features being added. For me, as a not live drummer, it's not something that will help me as much as it'll help other people, but I've seen a lot of scratch DJs basically work with the hot cues and start scratching with the master tempo. It's really, really cool. So I hope all y'all can use that feature better than me, because I will not be using it. So sorry, AlphaTheta, but I'll be using all the other ones. And everyone else now has the knowledge that it exists, and you guys will do more amazing things with that feature.
Cool, thanks for showing us that. So the gate cue, it looks like it only plays as long as you're holding it. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's a gated feature. I think, you know, a lot of that feature was missing from the CDJs and maybe available elsewhere, but now for all the cool scratch DJs, not my skill, have something to work with.
Yeah, because a normal cue is just you hit it and it goes back to that part of the song, right? And
yes.
Now you can exactly control how long that hot cue's playing.
Well, yeah, and the hot cues also play the track, depending on what your settings are. So my hot cue is like when I press whatever hot cue B or C, it'll go to that part. It'll also automatically play it. The gated cues will not automatically play it, so you can play it like drums. And then if you want the track to continue, when you hold it, you just hold it and press play, and then it'll continue the track from where your gated cue is.
Pretty cool. More control.
Yes,
Huzzah.
for someone who's good at it. Yeah.
You sounded good.
Yeah.
You were doing a good job. Just a few more questions from the live stream here. The real Steve-O, whether or not that's the real Steve-O or not, TBD.
We're all the
Let's
real
assume it
Steve-O.
is. I notice you have Afro House drums on your new tracks. Maybe he noticed wrong.
I don't think so. I have drums and I always have percussion on my music. And one of the things I really actually like, culturally, it's really important to me, is I use a lot of Korean percussion in my music. So, but percussion is percussion, right? And I think the ability to implement some of my cultural roots in my music has always been important. And there's more to Korean music than K-pop. We also love K-pop. Don't get me wrong, but we have a deep traditional history of very percussive music and singing and all this really lovely stuff. So when I get a chance, I always try to use that percussion in my music. But the way I use those sounds, though, it can be, resemble in many ways the drum patterns of many cultures. And I think when you're thinking about drum patterns in general, that's something that's so universal. It's like this really soulful, deep part of who we are as human beings is drums. And so if there's some similarities amongst it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a Korean drumming class in college and
That's so
learned how to
cool.
play the changgu and
I don't even know how to play that. I'll go to your house next time I need to record someone.
Well, all that to say is that it is like when you're reading the music, it's the accents and the way things happen and the pulse of the music is just so different than Western music. I can see how that would be really inspiring.
Yeah, these cool sounds, cool rhythms, crazy timings that don't make sense to me, But it's a gift that my culture brings me, is to be able to use that and the ways that I've been able to implement, the cultures of many people to make the music that I make today. Because I am just a product of all my influences. And so I'm really grateful for all the amazing artists that came before me that made the music that inspired me.
Have you ever done a set in Korea?
Yes, I have.
Oh, really? Where?
Like at the club. I know.
Obviously.
I was like, if I name it, it's like, is anyone going to know what those places
Well,
are?
I just mean, was it a big festival?
Oh, yeah. So definitely some big festivals. I played EDC Korea. Played this other one called Ansan Rock Festival. I just came back from Korea. I played a club over there, and it was really fun. Yeah. I love, if you guys have never been to Korea, you guys should go. It's really fun. It's an amazing place. Food's also great.
Looks really cool.
Yeah.
All right, just a few more stream questions here. Let's see here. K6 wants to know, are you incorporating Splice or any AI when you're producing, or are you all natural?
Is it a Splice or AI?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Splice loops are something that is like a tool that I really love, because sometimes we have all these ideas, but when am I going to learn how to play the flute? So it's cool to be able to access things like Splice loops. I know it seems shortcutty, and a lot of people can look down on it, but if you were ever making beats and you're sampling, it's kind of the same thing, except you won't get sued. So these tools are available for us to use and not to abuse, for us to take these tools to still be original and not derivative. So depending on how you're using things like AI and things like sample packs, are you still making art while you're using it? Are you using those tools to copy someone else, to take art away from someone else? Then there's some ethical issues around that, I think. But if you're using tools, any tool, to really create something original that allows you to speak for yourself as a musician, then I'm all about it. I'm very mostly pro technology, with the right guardrails in line, so that artists are treated fairly and the art is still really special.
Yeah, that was such a great quote. As long as you're using it to make art, you're doing your own thing, you're expressing your own ideas with it. Mm-hmm. It's the same as a sample in a lot of cases. Exactly.
But even in that way, like sampling back in the day offended a lot of the artists that were being sampled because they weren't given credit. So in this new age, what can we do to make a more egalitarian place where we can share music, share tips? Right now, I'm sharing with almost everything I know about CDJs. I'm just telling you guys right now. And it's so that you guys can make beautiful and amazing music and go out and perform incredible DJ sets with tools that you'll be able to implement even better than me.
Right on. So I think we'll end it with the final question, just bringing it back to the hardware one more time. Do you have any advice for DJs moving from an older model or something from Pioneer from years past into the 3000X? Is there something that stands out?
Honestly, I feel like if you want to learn how to use CDJs, you should use the really, really old ones because they're much harder to use. And if you're seasoned on one of those older machines, it solves a lot of the issues that maybe you had with these like really old legacy models. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything more. If anything, it just gets better.
Easier and easier. Yeah. That's cool. Or cut your teeth with the old model.
Honestly, sometimes I've had to DJ on some like really old models before at Burning Man. I was like, oh my god, I don't know how to use this. I'm too spoiled. I jumped into DJing because again, I'm not a career DJ, or I didn't start my career DJing. I was like really confused. I was like, oh no, I don't know how to use it.
Where's my laptop?
I know.
Yeah. Well, very cool. This has been an absolute blast. So fun to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Very interesting learning about your history and your expertise with production and live hardware too. This has been a great workshop. So huge thanks to you. Huge thanks to AlphaTheta for providing the gear. Yeah.
Yes.
And to all of you in person and online, we will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.
Thank you.